Greece's Prime Minister says the country is experiencing what he calls a nightmarish summer as a record-breaking heat wave fans dozens of wildfires. The flames have ripped through a town on the outskirts of the Greek capital, Athens, and thousands of people have been evacuated from the edge of the city. On the island of Euboea, west of Athens, hundreds of residents have been brought to safety by ferry. Emergency crews say shifting winds are hampering firefighting operations, and flames have returned to areas that thought the worst was over. At least one person is confirmed dead. DW's Barbara Vasil is in Greece covering this story for us.
This resident of Kyriakos is desperate. She had to evacuate her house, but her father stayed back to protect it. Now she watches from a distance as her neighbor's place is going up in flames. And she's praying her father can make it out in time. Anthony's house already burned down last night. Now he says he feels just numb and somehow overwhelmed. It's so sad. I don't know how to describe the feeling. I really haven't understood what has happened. In the village, some are still trying to fight the flames. This factory owner is trying to save his property armed with nothing but a garden hose. We're trying to water the bushes, get everything wet and stop the fire here. All around him, small business owners are following suit. But the fires are advancing rapidly and the police are struggling to get everybody out in time. Some residents begin to argue, pleading to get back into their houses to save some personal belongings. The fire is over there and the order is to allow nobody past. That also holds true for these volunteers. They can't help to fight the fires, but they still somehow want to be part of the communal effort. They don't allow us to go in there, so we give out water, juice, food to people passing, whatever we can do to help. But there is not much professional help. Every now and again, a plane or helicopter will pass over and drop their load of water onto the flames. Nellie saw her village saved once, but the fires have come back and are now threatening to consume everything.
I feel really angry because these things happen every year, but this year they left us all alone because the government thought that we didn't need any firefighters, we needed more policemen. And now we don't have firefighters. Last night, Kyriakos, this is my home, was burning, and only the volunteers of the village saved Kyriakos. That's a disgrace.
Hour by hour, the fires are advancing, fanned by the strong winds. The efforts to fight the flames seem helpless at best. A few hundred firefighters and some volunteers have to cover an area of thousands of acres. And all they have are hoses and some water from their old fire trucks. It's the third day in a row that we're working. We haven't slept at all. What to say? This is like a war in Greece. It's a war. Things are really tough. Within half a day, these fires in the northern suburbs of Athens have gone out of control. It looks like a losing battle.
Let's get more now from our correspondent, Barbara Vasil, who's just outside of Athens. Barbara, tell us, what have the last hours and day been like for people there?
Have been increasingly bad. If you look up at the hillside behind me and you see the thick smoke coming over there, the point is that we were up there like just 2 hours earlier and people in the neighborhoods were still battling and trying to, with water hoses and make sort of makeshift fire trucks to save their buildings and save their neighborhoods. But the smoke and the fire is just advancing. The wind is whipping it up. The wind, which is throughout these days the worst enemy of the firefighters, because they douse the fire in one place and it'll just emerge 5 meters further down. And the pine trees that we see all around here, the pine trees, they just go up like torches once even a spark hits them. And that is the danger. So there is absolutely no improvement in the situation here. It is just, the fires are just raging on.
Barbara, we heard in your report just before that wildfires are not uncommon to the region. So what makes these in particular so devastating?
I have lost the line, but maybe you can still hear me. What really seems to be the problem is that the country is hugely under-equipped to deal with fires like these. Greece burns every summer. That has been something that's been habitual, that has happened time and time again. But this is so much worse than ever. It is much hotter. We have temperatures that come up to 40 degrees during the day. Plus the fires create their own microclimate. The fires sort of whip up the heat, and the fires sort of throw up even more wind and fan their own advancement of the flames. So it is sort of like a really vicious circle that we're observing here. And there seems to be nothing that the authorities have to sort of throw against it. Far too few planes throwing water onto the flames, far too few helicopters, old and ancient-looking fire trucks, not enough firemen, lots of volunteers out there. They're doing their best, but they're just ill-equipped to really withstand these flames there and to really do something against them. You would need a huge professional force to sort of hem in this devastation that we're again seeing on this hillside behind us, and there is just simply nothing.
All right, Barbara Vaisel on the line for us despite some technical difficulties. Thanks very much for reporting for us there.